Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about the fact that not all proteins are created equal. And when we're talking about protein quality, we should really be measuring what matters. I'm John Sweeney. I'm the Director of Food Technology for Grande Custom Ingredients, and we're going to dig into this today. The great news for those of us in the dairy industry is that the demand for protein is increasing, and 71% of consumers want more protein in their diet. And why is that? And I would say the reason for that is that consumers are becoming more familiar with the benefits of protein. Those benefits include things like satiety, that feeling that I'm not hungry anymore, I've had enough to eat, and that helps me to not gain weight. The thermogenesis regulation in the body, regulating your body temperature and energy expenditure, is another very important function of protein. And protein is also important in building up tissues, muscles, and lean muscle mass, which is really important, especially as people are aging. And we're going to dig into that a little later. And lastly, and probably most topically, protein, along with calcium, can stimulate glucagon-like peptide 1 hormone, which is very important in regulating blood sugar and insulin and weight management, which is why we hear so much about those GLP-1 agonist drugs that can help with that's on the market and being a big revolution perhaps in weight loss. But protein can do that naturally, and that's maybe going to help along with those GLP-1 drugs or even naturally by itself. So another very important reason to consume protein. But let's talk a little bit more about protein and muscle mass. So you can see here that this lady is exercising and building some muscle. And the reason why that's important is that as we age, we lose muscle mass. And, that can happen to some people as early as their 20s. But particularly as you get older, and you can see here from our chart that in your 50s, you might lose up to 2% muscle mass a year. In your 60s, you might lose up to 5%, and then in 70s, up to 8%. And that's quite a bit cumulatively muscle mass to be losing, and it's going to affect your quality of life. So how do you work with that? And the answer to that is the protein you consume in your diet and the energy expenditure. So are you exercising? Are you active? Are you trying to lead that healthy lifestyle? The recommended daily value of protein is about zero point 0.8 grams per kilogram. But you can see here that your doctors or medical advisors might tell you, depending on your level of activity, you might need substantially more than that, right up to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight if you're very active. One other thing that can really impact people in this space is if they would have hospitalizations or things that happen that then cause them to be confined and maybe not able to exercise. And as you get older, that can be really a challenge. So that's another reason why you want to build that healthy muscle mass. So, what do consumers prefer? We hear an awful lot of information about plant proteins, and it would lead one to believe that perhaps plant proteins are greatly outselling or more valuable than, for example, whey protein. But these numbers come from Fortune, and they explain that actually whey protein is double the value in revenue of what is selling in the plant protein. You can see here 12.6 billion relative to 6.2 billion is quite a difference. And that difference comes, I think, because of people understanding the benefits of protein, what they should be measuring when it comes to protein quality and digestibility, and also the versatility of whey protein, which Grande Custom Ingredients use in many different applications to solve formulation challenges for our customers. And that's really, I think, reflected in the great advantage that whey protein has over many plant proteins, and the fact that it's continuing to grow at an increased CAGR right through 2032. So when we talk about the nutrition benefits of protein, where does the rubber really meet the road here? And I would say it's quite clear. There are 9 essential amino acids in our diet, and that means that you can't get those amino acids. The body can't generate them. It has to come from food that you consumed, from protein that you're intaking during the course of your diet. And you can see here that whey protein actually has 52% of essential amino acids in the makeup of that protein. Whereas casein, soy, pea, and rice, they may have the 9 essential amino acids, but they're there at much lower levels. And that therefore is going to mean that you don't get that nutrient density and you have to consume more calories to get the same benefits. So we're going to dig into that a little more. Here you can see the demand for protein, essential amino acids when it comes to leucine. And we can see here that leucine there's 70% more leucine in whey than there is in soy. And that means that, leucine is important for muscle tissue growth. It's important for hormone regulation and things like that. And so that means that a very important amino acid, you're going to have to consume a lot more soy, a lot more calories in order to get that same nutritional benefit. And that's also, if you look at these numbers, quite also true for lysine and for isoleucine. There's quite a big difference between the benefit you're going to get from whey relative to soy. And how do we pick up on this when we look at what's happening here in the labeling of products? And so what the FDA did in 1993 to try and get at the protein quality you're consuming, they came out with protein digestible corrected amino acid score. And that really measures the essential amino acids in the protein and therefore says, are you getting the daily value that you would expect? And you can see here the benefits of dairy-based protein, that 20 grams of protein at a 1.0 score would deliver 20 grams of protein, quality protein, and there'd be 40% of your DV value. However, when it comes to pea, you can see here that it has a much lower PDCAAS score of 0.89, which means you're only getting 17.8 grams of protein, not 20, which is about 35% of your daily value. So that can be, again, a difference. Perhaps you are on a GLP-1 diet and you're not consuming as much, so you want to have that nutrient density, or even food insecurity. Now it can be a thing where I can only afford so much and I need to be buying proteins that are going to be more nutritious for me and my family. And of course, technology moves on and measurement ability moves on. And in 2013, the WHO came out with the Digestible Indispensable Amino Acid Score, DIAS. And that, showed that we really should be measuring protein digestion and how much is the body actually using when it comes out of the ileum. And with that, the news got even better for whey protein as to the quality and digestibility that we're going to see. And you can see here, whey is now at 1.18 in a DIAS score relative to soy at 0.9. So that just shows the news is even getting better for whey protein, and that if we measure it accurately, it's a much better nutritional choice. So here we have a little bit more about Grande's Custom Ingredients Group itself and what do they bring to this whey protein story. And you can see we have a very natural, clean label ingredient. That's because our milk is coming from 75 local Grande family farms in the heart of the Midwest. We have very strict ethical practices, and all of the work done by our veterinarians and our farmers really means that we have 5 times better than grade A milk. We don't make any cheddar cheese or any cheese that would require bleaching or modification, which means that Grande deliver the finest quality white Italian cheese to the pizza market, but that also enables our whey business to have really some of the finest whey quality. And here you can see a little bit about the versatility of those functional whey ingredients that Grande Custom Ingredients bring to the market. In the top, we are helping supply a clear protein ingredient, a clear whey protein for sports beverages. We have a protein crisp that works very, very nicely in nutritional bars and in snacks. We have that protein crisp can be 60% protein or up to even 70% protein. We have ingredients that help you reduce cheese in your formula, like our wonderful Gusto, that is going to help with that cheese flavor and that durability of your sauce when it's being perhaps in food service or things like that. So that's really a big help to reduce calories and fat and bring that product quality. Same is true for Festo in our meatballs, where we can really reduce purge and improve that yield that you're seeing and really just make a better quality product. And then, of course, we have our wonderful Bravo ingredients and other things that help with cream reduction and so forth and in bakery items. So that's kind of the story of the wonderful news we have on whey nutrition, on whey functionality. And I'd like to lastly just say that we have all sorts of great content coming out on a regular basis on our LinkedIn page. So this code will take you there, and I look forward to chatting with you more in the future.